Take one of the old recordings. Jamie.
See you again, you need.
Yeah, I replaced them.
Recording that Jamie.
Oh, you don't need you anymore.
No. If it only could differentiate between who is speaking and who is said.
Oh, AI will do that eventually.
Eventually, it doesn't yet, and when you. Anyway. Jamie made a recording for me for the property maintenance appeals board meeting in May of last year, on the little recorder. And it's so big, I can't send it in. You know how to like edit it? Can you edit it towards just the things we need
Can I pull it off the recorder?
off the recorder?
Yeah.
I have no idea. He sent it in an email.
The one you said was a good file. Oh, I'll figure it out.
Oh, you did get it when I sent it?
Yeah, I was trying to look at it, but I don't have I thought it was a video.
No, it's just, I think it was just on that little recorder.
Yeah, I can.
All right.
You can help with that matters. You're much better. Yeah, better.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Commissioner.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. It was too large to send it.
Yeah.
What does that have something to do with today's hearing? The report? Yeah. So really.
Yeah.
Service like lobby services that was started many pages reported like. Space it.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that I just put it on a thumb drive. Would you rather I give you the number?
That works.
Dr. Green.
That one, that's fine.
But would you be able to stay in terms? Yeah.
How long ago was that?
Well, okay, I didn't know you because mine, three, one.
Okay.
And you-
And the waivers.
Yeah.
And then she's, in case that changed it from a eating, drinking establishment to. What about? So, what if you can? We did that last time. Should have. This guy, although there was a lot of case. Tension, so I. For two. Yeah. Slot for the sheets. I want to see if it's a. Three to one. Like, there's no lights. It's okay, it's it's extra bright. I like to have a spotlight on me. I feel like it's big added light.
It's very,
But
you
one.
can dim them, you can dim them.
Yeah.
We don't want us to all fall asleep.
Yeah, I'll fall asleep. If you hear me snoring, don't think of it.
Right. Leave.
I think that's.
You know, did they respond to everyone, say they weren't coming?
I think,
We have a quorum, but there's gonna be an absence. I don't remember who it is.
Well, Pete Williams would be absent.
yeah, he was
For sure.
preparing a little video on, look at the invite, because somebody said it this one.
Yeah, our assistants. I can be invited.
Oh, that's great. She said that one.
I can. Actually, Bill, since you're signed in, you look at the
Who's responded to the meeting invite?
Yeah, it's bad.
What, sure? Yep.
Yeah, just check. You had 75 minutes. Okay. Everyone talk about our favorite gas station? Huh? Talk about our favorite gas station? Yeah. Well, they can get one we haven't seen before. Including what? Yeah. Thanks for Pennsylvania. This is
Mike's on.
should be.
There you go. Are you ready, Tony?
Trying to email 20 minutes ago, say, get something last minute, come up.
Okay. All right. Well, let's bring the November City of Columbus Graphics Commission meeting into session. Is there any preliminary matters we need to run through? Okay, would you like to swear in our 3 people here, 4 people?
Do you anticipate providing any testimony to the committee? And for all the information provided today, to include knowledge of skill set.
All right, and with that, we will call our first case. Application number GC 25-031, 387 East Beck Street. Please come forward. Come on up. And this is Mr. Trimmer's case.
Microphones are a little different.
Oh, yeah, I just noticed. Test.
Really easy signage.
Is there a button?
Test. Oh, he's on.
Like, look, that's.
There it is. Test, test.
It sounds like it when you turn it.
I was having issues with when.
It's on.
Okay, test, test.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
All right.
Speak loudly, I guess.
Mine's on. Got a red light too. It's ridiculous.
All right.
Mine's also on.
All right. Whoa, there we go. 387 East Beck Street is located on the southwest corner of East Beck Street and Lathrop Street. Is on R2F and part of the Columbus South Side Area Commission. The 1.6 acre site is developed with an educational facility. Surrounding uses are a mix of single and multi-unit residential. The applicant proposes to raise the existing 4x8 non-illuminated ground sign and install a 5-foot and 3-inch tall 20.8 square foot illuminated monument sign on a brick base. A variance is being requested to reduce the minimum required setback for a ground sign from 15 feet to 12.8 feet along Brick Street and from 15 feet to 14.3 feet along East Beck Street, and to allow a ground sign in a residentially zoned district to display automatic changeable copy. Planning does not support the proposal as submitted. C2P2 discourages the use of automatic changeable copy signs. Staff recommend removal of the automatic changeable copy element within the proposed monument sign to remain consistent with C2P2. Division of Traffic Management had no comments, and the Columbus Southside Area Commission recommends a disapproval with a vote of 0 to 7. Staff, on the other hand, is recommending approval. Although Columbus citywide planning policies state that automatic changeable copy signs are generally discouraged, staff has consistently recommended approval of automatic changeable copy signs for institutional uses, as they provide information beneficial to their communities. Chair.
Please state your name for the record and go ahead and present your case. And
Thank
confirm
you.
you've been sworn in too.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Stanley W. Young III. I'm the agent for the applicant.
Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, I would like to thank staff and the commission for reviewing this case. I do want to really, what? In a moment. Thank you. I do want to begin by reiterating that this is zoned, as staff had indicated, R2F, which is a residentially zoned property. However, it does have an institutional use, which is not uncommon in the Columbus area. There are many schools, many nonprofits, to include churches, that are currently operating as that institutional use, as staff had indicated, in a residentially zoned area. I would like to take a moment and inform you, Mr. Chairman, and all the members of the commission about this school, because there was some testimony given by one of the civic groups that we had that this school was academically poor. And that is not the case. I have some information here to refute that and to rebut that testimony by 3 accredited institutions, indicating that this school is actually a 4-star school above City of Columbus. First of all, this school is tuition free. It's K through 8. It's a public charter school. They provide academics, career-based intervention, strong social and emotional learning programs to prepare students for success. It is a small school. I believe they have approximately 290 to 300 in enrollment. They are a community-focused school that ensures that every child gets good support. Their academics are including this. They have full-day kindergarten, early entrance to K opportunities, career readiness, physical education, Spanish classes. They were awarded the Quality Community School Grant by the state of Ohio for exemplary, effective instruction and academic achievement. With respect to student life, they have a basketball program, a drone soccer program, and track and field. But here's one of the most, what I believe to be one of the nicest features of this school. They offer the community free services. And these are just some of the services. They offer free school care after with an empowering program. They offer breakfast and lunch, counseling. They have a food pantry that's in operation, health services, summer school, transportation partnerships with before and after, and also tutoring programs. So what I submit to you as a board is that this school is a community asset and not a deterrent. And really one of the only ways that this school can accurately get its messages across to not only the community and the students is through a message with a sign. We have tried our best to develop this sign program to make it as less intrusive as impossible, meaning this, that the sign would only be illuminated during school hours or an activity. It's a single-face sign. It has an automatic dimmable feature, which means that at 5 o'clock when the sun goes down, this sign would automatically dim. It will not flash, it will not scroll, it will not roll or have images. It will just produce messages that the school wants to get across to the public and to the community of what's going on with the school. This sign, as staff indicated, is approximately 20 square feet. It's replacing a sign that's 32 square feet, so it's about half the size of the sign that's actually coming down. I know the Southside Area Commission also reviewed this. They had no issue with the reduced setback because the sign is so small. It does have to be moved a little bit closer to the road, but it'll still maintain a clear vision triangle. And that's really about all I have, and I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
I have several questions. So the sign you're taking down is bigger than the one you're putting up. Is it a legal non-conforming sign?
It is a legal sign. It's a 4x8, 32 square feet, 7 foot in height. It is permitted by code, but it's non-illuminated.
Can you, I guess, speak more to the hardship you're claiming, the reason that you believe this variance is needed?
Yes, sir, I can. I believe the hardship is this, is that is every school, every nonprofit, every church has an opportunity to display to the community a message about what is going on within the school. That is important. You only do it one of two ways. You either do it with a sign program or you do it with paper. And paper and all those types and kinds of ways of trying to communicate is a very slow process. This is instantaneous. This gets the message across in a much more quicker way. And it also has the opportunity to not only bring the events to the community, but to also recognize students with outstanding academic performance. So it's a way for the school to message a
You
community.
really answered my question. So what can this sign do that an otherwise permitted sign could not do? Like what, visibility issues, the configuration of the property, why is this variance needed?
Well, it's needed because the school is a very active school. It needs a way to demonstrate or to have the option of putting out all of its programs, all of its events in a way that benefits not only the student body, but the community. So that sign that you see there, that's non-illuminated. It has no way of communicating what is going on in the school. And this school is not unlike any other school in the Columbus market. Most schools have some type or kind of changeable copy.
So it's more about the messaging that you want to present on the sign in addition to just identification.
Yes, sir, that is correct. Also, I do want to point out one thing. It was also in the design element that we put a nice brick base under it that it's not going to match perfectly because the building is very old. However, I think the intent was to put something underneath the sign that was kind of tying into the building's construction, which is brick or brownstone as well. But that was done for an aesthetic purpose for the community.
Anyone else have questions? I'm sure you do.
How long has the school been operating at this location? Sorry.
I can't give you a definitive number of years, but I know it's been quite some time. I don't have an exact answer for you.
Okay. So it's, and you mentioned it's a public charter school.
Mhm.
What does that mean?
It's federally assisted. It's federally funded as well, along with private contributions.
So it's a private school.
I can read to you what it says. It's a tuition-free K through 8 public charter school. That is exactly what it is, a public school. So I do believe it does rely on some federal funds for operational costs.
So because it gets federal funds, you're making, I mean, where do the students come from?
They come from all around the community.
Oh, it's not just the neighborhood. I mean, do you understand what my question, like what typically the boundaries of public schools
It's
are?
a charter school. They can go from there.
Okay. So it's, okay. Public charter school.
So there's two variances being requested here. One is about the setback, reducing the setback. Does the existing sign, is it within, is that variance in effect for the existing sign, or, is it being put in a different place of
No,
where?
the variance really has nothing to do with the existing sign. The variance specifically is really broken down into two things. One is the setback.
Yeah.
It's reduced to about 12 foot where code is like 15 foot. We wanted it, because of the smallness of the sign, we wanted to get it just a little bit closer to the road. It's like at a 45 to the corner so that it would be a little bit more visible. So Southside Area Commission, and I don't know if, I think they're maybe here tonight. They had no issue with the setback. Um,
Is the new sign in relationship to the old sign? What, tell me about that.
The new sign is 20 square feet. The existing sign's 32 square feet.
Placement.
Like
Placement, well, let's see. If you look at the very front of the building, this sign sets to just to the right of the entrance. And if you go farther towards, I think it's at Briggs, probably about 50 feet is where this sign's located, which is right on the corner.
Closer to the corner than.
Closer, yeah, it's on the.
Closer to the, that one was bigger, so you didn't need the setback.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I have a question, Chairman.
Go ahead.
Are you open to the staff recommendation or are you against the staff recommendation?
And what would the staff recommendation be, please?
The staff recommends removal of the automatic changeable copy element within the proposed monument sign to remain consistent with the C2P2 graphics recommendations.
That was planning staff, yeah.
Planning's recommendation.
Well, my comment, ma'am, on that would be that if you remove the automatic changeable copy feature of the sign, there's really no reason to install the sign because you're taking away its ability to display messages.
Then I had one other question too. So when the sign is off, of course, it's just blank black.
Correct, black.
But do you have signage on the building itself?
There are a few like directional signs, that was included within your packet. You had a chance to review, but they are like 4x6. I think there's one on the side of the same wall that this sign faces, and there's one on the south side of the building as well.
I mean, will it say south? I mean,
It will have it does have the name.
okay, so
yeah.
it does have that. Okay.
Correct.
So the site's still identified as it is without that sign on.
Correct, but they're more directional in nature, but yes, it does have the name of the school, I believe.
So the Southside Commission recommends disapproval. Did that change or? Okay.
Yeah, is there anyone else that would like to come testify as to this case? Please come forward. Have you been sworn in, sir?
I have.
Okay, can you please state your name for the record and
My name's Gary Stuhlfoth. I'm
can you please spell that for Tony?
Gary.
Your last name.
It's S. No. Stuhlfauth. Stuhlfoth.
Perfect, thank you.
Anyway, that's my name. I've been sworn in and I am secretary of the Schumacher Place Civic Association. And I'm asking that you vote against this project in its current form. We received comments from 13 residents who live near the school, some in Schumacher Place, some in German Village. And at least 7 of those residents live directly across the street from the school property. And if you're not familiar with the area, Beck and Briggs are not wide streets and the houses are just right there on the other side. They all sit right on the street. None of the residents supported granting the variance related to the installation of an automatic changeable copy sign on school property at the corner, Beck and Briggs Streets. To the best of our knowledge, none of the 44 public and private schools in South Columbus have this type of sign. The City Planning Division does not support the proposal as submitted and recommends removal of the automatic changeable copy element of the sign. And also I'd like to mention the part of the existing city code that includes the graphic standards that apply along the Parsons Avenue corridor prohibits the installation of automatic changeable copy signs along Parsons Avenue. So you have to ask, why should one be allowed in this close residential neighborhood right there at the corner of Briggs and Beck Streets? While the school says it intends to only use the sign for static black and white displays, with the right software, the proposed sign is capable of all kinds of displays. Once the sign is there, future principal, superintendent, different superintendent, a new building owner could decide they want to expand its use, and this just would not be appropriate, again, in this very close residential setting. Neither the residents nor the Civic Association are opposed to the installation of a new manual changeable copy sign at this site, and this is a type of sign that you see at schools all over South Columbus. In closing, I ask that you support the residents, the Civic Association, and the commission in voting against this proposal in its current form. And I guess I'd like to add that if indeed the school is going to operate the sign the way they say and turn it off after school hours, and that would probably be off on Sundays, a lot on Saturdays, they'd be better served by a manual changeable copy sign where the message is going to be there all those times for people to see who come by. I think that. So anyway, that's my testimony, and I'd be glad to ask any questions or answer any questions. I don't want to ask questions.
Is there any location on the property that you think the commission, that the area commission would agree to automatic changeable copy? In other words, is it because it's been moved to the corner and would impact more homes, or?
Well, even if it were where the existing sign is, the streets, it's a close residential area, unless you're going to put it way back in the corner of the playground at the back of the building, which wouldn't be a good location. And probably not. No, even the existing sign is not far from the streets and not far from the houses, residential houses that are immediately across that street. So no, I don't believe so.
Anyone else have any questions?
Do you remember what school it used to be? I'm trying to see it and I can't.
Sure,
Was it
Briggs.
Beck?
It used to be Beck Street.
Yes, Beck Street. Okay.
Beck Street School,
Yeah.
public school. Yes, it's been there for over 100 years. And it's a really well-known school. I mean, it's not like you need to, it's charter school now. But the school's been there a long time. People know about the school. They don't need to be made aware of it. I mean, it's there. And I don't know, it's not just a automatic changeable copy sign or paper. There's the internet, there's email. There are a lot of ways, modern ways, there's text to get any kind of information you need out to your parents that are going to be probably a lot more effective than having a message right there on these small, narrow streets where really the bulk of the people that go by there at any given time are parents picking up their kids and school buses there. And then after hours, when maybe the sign's probably going to be turned off, there's a lot of people out walking their dogs. There's a lot of people out and about. But if indeed they operate the sign the way they say, yeah, there wouldn't be any message there at all. So, and all these other schools, do really well with manual changeable copy signs. New one would look great. Nobody's opposed to that. I think it would actually work probably better for them.
I have a question for the applicant, is it Mr. Young?
Yes, sir.
You mentioned that, and you implied at least that you might be open to some conditions on this sign.
That's correct.
Okay, so like hours of operation and
Yes.
Messaging only related to the school functions, something like that?
That is correct, and this was explicitly implied and suggested to both the local and the area commission that the sign would only be on during school hours or if they had an event going on where the public needed to be notified. It would automatically dim. It has an automatic dimmable feature. When you have in the fall, when the sun goes down at 5 o'clock and something's going on at the school, the sign's on, it would automatically dim to a lower lumen. And it would not flash. It would not scroll. It would not produce images, strictly verbal messages. That is all. So those,
Static.
it would be static, yes. And I think you have to have so many seconds in between changing the each message. I think it's 8 seconds.
8 seconds.
So it would have intervals in between messaging as well. So
What other events does take place at that school?
they have sports events, they have parent-teacher conferences, they have a myriad of events all the time. They're very active.
Was it did the what did the area commission vote? Did they vote against it?
Well, both I'll start with my civic association, the Schumacher Place Civic Association. We voted, I think it was 11 for, 2 for, 11 against at the meeting where we heard about it.
Right.
At the commission meeting, they voted on two things, the setbacks. Everybody was for that. The automatic changeable copy sign part, it was unanimous, I think 0-7 against.
The official vote. It's a 0 approval, 7 no, 3 abstentions.
Okay.
When, do you know when the old school closed and this new school took over the building?
The charter school?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd say it's been there for at least 5 years.
Okay.
And the school was closed vacant for some period of time. And I can't recall if there was another charter school there prior to that. I don't think so. No, but again, my concern is it's a close residential neighborhood with houses immediately there. You know, and this sign's going to be not like it's not like you coming up and down the street, you see it. I assume it's probably going to be catty corner at the corner there. So it's just facing right out.
Got a question. Dan,
Mm-hmm.
if you were to permit a sign that didn't have an EMC on it, but did EMC, Electronic Message Center, what square footage would you be allowed to have?
I believe 32 square feet.
32 square feet?
Mm-hmm.
And half of that would be allowed to be changeable copy.
Right.
In residential.
Correct.
So you'd have a sign that's the same size as it is now.
That is correct.
Okay.
But I would assume you'd still like to have the setback variance part of it.
Correct.
But not, and then if it didn't, asking you, if it didn't have an electronic message component, then you'd be in favor of the.
I have no, the civic association, the residents that live right there that we heard from, and the commission, well, I guess I won't speak for the commission.
Right, yeah, I know.
You know, nobody is against a new manual changeable copy sign where they want to put this one. And again, as I said before, I think it would work better for them, and that's what schools have. At least all over South Columbus, we had someone who did research on this, and they couldn't find a one out of the 44 that has anything but manual changeable copy signs.
Mr. Young, do you know of any other schools that have automatic changeable copy in South Columbus? Do you know if that's?
Not to my knowledge, no. But in the greater city of Columbus, where you have institutional uses operating in R2F residential zonings, yes, you have schools and you have churches. This is not in a historic district. This is not in, yes, it is bordered by historic districts. Yes, it is bordered by, but officially, this is not in German Village. It has no architectural standards by which one that would be in a type of historic district would have. It has no architectural standards. This would just simply have to meet the City of Columbus Graphics Commission code.
So
Or graphics code, I'm
I
sorry.
do feel like it is in German Village, and I think that the street is extremely small. So I personally don't hear hardship. And then not for the school, I hear hardship for the community because the houses are really close to that street. Two cars can't even go down the street together. So I have concerns about that part. And we can't monitor, once we get that sign there, we can't monitor what's going to be on the sign and how it's affecting the community. And I just really have concerns when, from what I'm seeing, is the community is really against it.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a concern.
Yeah.
I do have a question, and I would just throw this out to this gentleman here in the commission. So If this gentleman here has no issue with manual changeable copy, would he have an issue if we did manual changeable copy with an illuminated sign there? What would be the difference? The only difference would be that somebody has to go out in the dead of winter and change a message, which is uncomfortable. And half the time the tracks over a period of years, they get brittle and they break. So do the letters. I've seen it 1,000 times. I've been in this industry for a long, long time. And so what would be the difference if we had manual changeable copy that everybody seems to want to be nice with? And yet you would have to go out in the middle of all different kinds of weather, change it.
Okay, so I wasn't finished speaking. So my concern is that the difference would be that the homes are really close. And as a family, if my house was there and I have a changeable copy illuminating in my front yard or in my home, I would have a problem with that. And you said you want the sign to be on when during school hours and when there's events. So you have sports events, and then you have parent teacher conference that sometimes run until 9 o'clock at night, even later sometimes at some schools. I'm not sure about this South Columbus Preparatory Academy, but at some schools they run until 9, 10 o'clock. And then there's the sports events. I'm not sure what sports teams you have at this school, but I know some of them also run late and can be scheduled very late once you do the schedule, and we don't have control over any of that, and we can't monitor that. So those are my concerns I do have.
I have a question for this gentleman, lady.
Yeah.
So then, would you be opposed then if we had
I don't even know how to respond to that.
gentle lady?
He's saying it to him and her. I think he was
No.
saying,
Would you have an issue with an illuminated sign? I'll ask the commission, and would anyone have a problem with having the sign illuminated and manually changed? How would that differ from?
well, that, I mean, that would comply with the code, would it not? I mean,
So
if it wasn't automatically changeable copy and it was just illuminated.
Just say, ground sign and residentially zoned. Yeah, so yeah, it would be.
I mean, the reason you're here is because you're requesting, to vary from the code.
correct.
But, the difference is you don't need us to grant you a variance for that scenario. So honestly, it sounds like there's people up here who have issues with it. And I also think there might be room between what the school wants to do and what the area commission might be okay with. I think we should table this case, and I think you should have further discussions with the area commission and maybe see if there is some kind of compromise that a sign you can put in that'll be acceptable to the area residents, or you can ask us to vote, but it's your decision. I just, from what I'm hearing, I feel like there might be room for a compromise, and you don't necessarily want to push us to move forward with a vote, because I don't know how it'll turn out.
I would agree with the commissioner. Can I make a comment on, I agree with Mr. Chairman, but I want to point out that if you were to permit a static sign, the manual changeable copy, you could put 32 square foot of sign up there that would be lit all night long. The lumen output would probably be higher than an electronic message center.
Mm-hmm.
Cheaper.
What you're asking for is a sign that they could have a lot more control over when it's on. You could have more control over its light output. You have control over the type of, the way the message is displayed and the time that it's displayed. So those are some of the things that I think that you and the commission, if you want to take this to a more discussions, these are some points that I think everybody should understand. And those across the street that live across the street can either live with a sign that is more controlled, or they can live with a sign that has no control over when it's illuminated. It'll be on all night. So just make that point out.
Sign illumination, directly eternally, or by neon tubes bit in the form of letters or shapes. Okay, so yeah.
So I don't know, from what I'm hearing, it doesn't look like the school's made any effort to really hear what the residents around the school are saying. So at a minimum, I'd recommend that the school come back to the area commission and hear their concerns and see if they can be addressed.
That's fair. We'll table it.
Can I have a motion to table case number GC 25031?
I'd like to make a motion to table GC 25-031 till the next meeting.
Um,
I'll second.
you want to vote?
Mr. Cavalaris,
Yes, the table.
Mr. Hoy,
Yes.
Ms. Augustine,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Chair Cooperman.
Yes, and your case is tabled. Please speak with city staff and
Great.
with your area commission.
And thank you for your input too.
When will the next meeting be? Is it during December or after that?
December 16th.
December 16th. Okay.
That's if it gets, yeah,
Yeah, like,
it's the second, what is it, the third Tuesday of every month.
I'm not sure the commission meets during December. I'm not sure they might. I know our civic association doesn't, but you really are dealing with the commission at this point.
Well,
since, you know.
again, like that doesn't
Yeah.
mean it'll be next month, so.
Okay,
I
I'll pay
think,
attention.
I really,
And we
really
will.
think you guys can come up with the solution that would, and it's so important that the community buys into what the school's doing so you can support the school.
I know I've driven all over the south side and looked at a lot of school signs, and I'm going to try to educate myself about what Mr. Moore was talking about.
Wonderful.
A good one to see is I do know in Whitehall, they have 5 schools there. Not a very big community, but they have 5 schools and each school has its own electronic message. So not very big and all that. And they just rave about it and love about, and that's just one success
I
story.
could see that. I think this really has to do with the location.
Exactly.
This particular site, it's very close.
Okay.
You're
Well, I
correct.
encourage you guys to talk and speak with city staff and we'll see you soon.
Great. Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks.
thank you.
Okay, next case, GC 25-047, 5757 West Broad Street.
Stan, hanging around.
5757 West Broad Street is located on southwest corner of West Broad Street and Galloway Road. It's zoned CAC Community Activity Center, and it's located in the Westland Area Commission. The 3-acre site is developed with a Sheetz gas station. Surrounding uses include a supermarket and fuel station to the north, multi-unit residential to the east, a commercial center to the west, and single-unit residential to the south. The applicant proposes to establish a graphics plan, which includes new directional signs as well as existing signs to remain, as requesting to establish a graphics plan to allow directional ground signs as well as existing signs with previously approved variances. This property was subject of GC 23-043, which included numerous variances to allow installation of banners, temporary signs, projecting signs, and identification signs. All variances, including this previous action, are being carried over as part of this application. Staff note the proposed location within a Title 34 district accordingly to maintain alignment with policy direction established by City Council to promote walkable and mixed-use development. Staff applies a higher level of scrutiny to variance and rezoning requests in these areas in addition to the land use plan and design guidelines. C2P2 states that new signage should be designed to be a logical and complementary component of the overall design storefront. Therefore, planning is supportive as the proposal is consistent with C2P2 design guidelines. Division of Traffic Management has no comments, and the Westland Area Commission recommends approval of this request. Staff can recommend approval of the proposed graphics plan since the previously approved permanent wall signs are negligible, and the proposed changes will allow the store to change its drive-through into a mobile order pickup only. This will help reduce the amount of idling traffic since customers will arrive once their orders have already been placed rather than ordering and waiting while their order is being prepared. And as with all the other previous Sheetz cases, have the condition that's carrying over from the previous case that automatic changeable copy will be limited to the fuel pricing. And out of the 2 cases that we've had, types of cases we've had for Sheetz, this is the one with the drive-through where the boards will go over the drive-through and then there'll be the painted parking spot out front of the drive-through. Right there.
Wonderful. Can you please state your name for the record and confirm you've been sworn in and then go ahead and present your case?
Hi, my name is Rebecca Green. Is it on? And I have been sworn. This is another Sheetz drive-through case where they're trying to convert the pickup unit equipment to a ground directional sign. Ground directional signs require a graphics plan under the code. In this case, the graphics plan would consist of all existing signs, which are the wall signs, the signs on the canopy, and the existing ground sign. The ground sign was the subject of variance for identification area. I think that was the only variance for that one, for just identification, the percentage of identification area. And then, of course, this new converted drive-through with the placards over the order point and in the menu board. Those would be the three parts of the graphics plan. It's very similar to the other cases that we've heard.
So we're fully incorporating previous graphics approvals, or one or two?
I'm sorry.
One or two, like you were in front of the commission and we granted you.
Just one for this
Just
property.
one. So you're incorporating the previous graphics commission order within this graphics plan, including all conditions.
That's correct. Thank you.
Any other questions? Would anyone like to make a motion to adopt the finding of fact?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to accept the finding of facts of the testimony from staff and the applicant for GC 25-047.
No second.
Mr. Hoy,
Yes.
Ms. Augenstein,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Cavaliers,
Yes.
Mayor Cooperman.
Yes. And can I have a motion to approve the application based on the finding of fact? Anyone?
I'll make a motion to approve, application GC, where are we?
25.
25047, based on the testimony. of the applicant. Yeah.
I'll second.
Ms. Augenstein,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Cavaliers,
Yes.
Mr. Hoy,
Yes.
Chair Cooperman.
Yes, and your application is approved. Thank you. Is there any further matters to discuss? We are adjourned. Thanks.
You have something?
Opportunity to introduce myself.